Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Did you get my email?
Just now.
Are you good running it when we get started here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If not, we can get somebody else to do it. I just want to make sure.
If there's somebody present, I'm on my phone,
Oh,
so
are
to
ya?
actually formally go through this, I'm not prepared.
Nope. Okay. No, we'll get somebody here to do it. So we'll get the meeting
Okay.
started here in a second and get going.
Okay, sorry.
You're pretty fresh. I think you do it so much better. Charlie, do you want me to
Just call it to order and then we'll just go through the formal process of nominating a chair and all that stuff.
roll call first, or?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to call the August 9th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Indianola to order. Roll call, please.
Misty Solrich, Sarah Ritchie,
Here.
Al Ferris, Aaron Freeberg, Bob Ormsby,
Here.
Jeremy Kriegel,
Here.
He's here.
Josh Ray,
Here.
They're not coming over the audio.
here, Lynn Stecker.
Here. Charlie, since we don't have a chair for today, do we make a motion here to nominate a new chair?
Yes.
Anybody like to nominate somebody?
I'd like to nominate Josh Ray as chair tonight.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Lynn, do we need to do a roll call on that one, or is a consensus good?
I think consensus is probably fine.
All right, all those in favor of Josh Ray being the chair for the meeting, please say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, same sign. All right. To approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, same sign. Charlie, they can hear us on the interwebs, right?
I think so, but I'm not sure that your audio is coming across. I see they can hear us, but I'm not sure if their audio is coming across or not. We'll figure that out.
All right, agenda item 4, approval of the minutes from the July 2022 meeting. Does anybody have any questions in reviewing those minutes? Comments or concerns? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the July 2022 meeting minutes as submitted.
I approve the July minutes as submitted.
Second.
Second.
Perfect. All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Same sign. All right. Agenda item number 5 is public comment. If you're here to speak about a topic that is not on the agenda tonight, this would be your opportunity. Perfect. Everyone's here just for an awesome agenda time. Great. We'll move on to old business. Charlie, item 6A, consider recommendation on a major site plan application for Medicap Pharmacy located at 2105 North 3rd Lane. Do you want to give us a little background on why this one's here back again?
Sure. So you'll recall at the last meeting, we went through the site plan and really I think the only thing that we had outstanding, a little bit of hang up for the Planning and Zoning Commission, was just the facade materials that were being proposed on the building and the clear glass requirement that we require. So what the code says, and I just want to clarify that, the code says that at least one street facing building facade and the facade containing the main building entry, and this is key, if different from the street facade, shall consist of no less than 20% clear glass fenestrations, which is windows and full glass doors on the first level. When we had talked about this at the last meeting, new regulations, I think the way it was being interpreted at that standpoint was that both both street facing facades had to meet that 20% requirement. Getting some feedback from the applicant and then actually reading through the code and verifying that, I think what the code is saying is that, corner lots shouldn't necessarily be required to have more glass on their building just because they're a corner lot. We need to focus on just that one street facing facade and then the building with the main entry. So on this one, since the main entry of the building is actually facing North 3rd Street there, they do not need to meet that on the Trail Ridge side of this development. But again, I do want to make clear on that the 20% still is not being met on this building, and the email from the applicant, and I know the applicant has representative here yet this evening too. They're not meeting that 20%, and that goes back to the same reasons before that we discussed between the security, because it is a pharmacy with the controlled substances inside. There was a little bit more of a clarification on there too, is just because of the city's requirement that the drive-through canopy be 14 feet high. That raised everything a little bit too, to a point where it's really hard to meet that requirement. And again, that explanation's in that email. And again, I think they'll probably clarify that here. But other than that, we went through everything. And if we need to go through any of those other materials on the site plan, be happy to do it. But I think based off what I could tell at the last meeting, the commission was pretty much in favor of everything else on that, other than this last item.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions for Charlie or the applicant's representative?
Yeah, I think one question I had was the argument about the height being an issue on meeting the percentage, questioning if that was reduced to more of a conventional height, like 15 or 16 feet, would we meet the 20%?
And
You want to
yeah,
step
it's
forward?
probably better for you to answer that question.
You would please
Happy
state
to.
your name.
I dressed up just for the occasion, got a front row seat, so I appreciate you guys having me.
Please state your name and address, sir, for the record.
Josh Ridgely, live at 7632 Northwest 86th Street in Johnston, just a touch north of here. So appreciate you again having me. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so right now.
I think I understand what we're talking
Building
about. I
is-
just want to make sure I'm
The
getting it.
building is 18-foot parapet top. And, you know, the argument was that you couldn't meet the 20% because the building's gotten taller than a conventional height building because of the overhead. So if I was to assume a more conventional building, if you didn't have that drive-through at 14, you might be at a 15 to maybe a 15-foot parapet height or so. So about 3 foot shorter, making an assumption here. So if I made that assumption that it was, we didn't have that overhead and that building was a 15-foot tall building, with the facade glass at the entrance facade in the east, do you know if it would meet the 20% requirement?
Top of my head, no, I don't. I know right now that we're hovering right around 15%, but I don't have the calculation offhand. Sorry about that.
So it'd be.
I know that we would be closer.
Well, that's true. You would be. I was just curious. You might be there. I don't know.
So if it's a 50-foot wide building and we're saying an assumption of reducing it by 3 feet, right, it'd be 150 square foot reduction. The rest of the math is here. I'm in real estate for a living.
Well, I don't. They may have put the.
Based on that, it's about 30 square feet of added glass that would be required.
That's the east elevation. So let's see. That was 13. Glazing was 15%. Yeah, color 1, 62%. So that's about, could be 25% of that off. I mean, it could be down. It probably would get there.
Be close.
Yeah.
Real close.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So just another question on security. Obviously, you tried to meet the glass on the east side. I know there was a couple windows on the west side, and I didn't know, is that being secured too somehow with security cameras? I mean, I guess I'm questioning why we got windows here, but you can't put them on the north because of security issues.
So every opening that is around the facade, we've got, some security system, whether it's, like a breakage alarm or security camera or something like that. So, essentially the hardship that we're coming here with is every opening that we do, we either have to, add a security feature there, which, just adds cost to the facility.
Well, I had emailed Charlie earlier this morning because I was reading that code and I was reading the argument, and I would agree with Charlie, the way it's written, it is giving them that kind of, I would say out, but it's saying you don't have to have both if it's a two-sided, two-street lot. So yes, to the letter of the ordinance, we aren't required to make them do glass on site. It's unfortunate we can't, because it is a primary kind of facade, to that site a little bit. I think a lot of people will go past that facade.
So I have a question on security. Has existing Medicap right now had security issues with, and I don't know what the percentage of glass it has, but has it had an issue?
I can't answer that. Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm just guessing that it is within code, and I know this is a bigger building.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, the existing building that's there right now, and my guess is you're probably not dealing with as much clear glass. And to be quite honest, I've driven past that building probably each day that I've been here, and I can't know if I've ever really looked at it that hard, but my guess is, that building as it stands right now probably doesn't meet any aspects of our code for various reasons. So just because it's an existing building, but. And I think Josh would probably say the same thing, but my understanding from just in speaking with Josh and Joe on this a few times is, I think really the big concern is Medicap nationwide. I mean, there's always issues when you have controlled substances and all of that stuff. And yeah, maybe it's not as bad here as it is in, other portions of the country, but the potential still is there.
I did pull up the street view of the current Medicap in town here, and believe it or not, there's not a lot of glazing on that as well.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, this is probably maybe a touch less than another one, but not significantly more. I mean, I agree. Definitely no windows in the north and south building, but
Mhm.
you're not grossly off base of what's been here. We're at, even though it doesn't really be code, probably a lot of different. Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Ridgely?
Yeah, one more question. So is that the fire department that put in the 14-foot stipulation?
No, we put that in when we updated our zoning code, and I don't know, I think, I'll be frank, and I think everybody can probably have some realization on this, is sometimes those get put in there and there's not any comments on it when it gets put in there, and then when we actually put it to practice, we start realizing that maybe that doesn't work as well as we had intended it to. So because this, I'll be honest, it's not the first time it's come up. We've got another site plan that we're reviewing right now where it's come up a couple times on just being a little bit too high. So could be something that if Planning Commission wants us to, we could take a look at what other communities do and maybe see if we can come back with an amendment to that.
Remember why we put them in place?
I don't. I really don't. No.
Probably copied and pasted.
And that's true. A lot of that does just get carried over. I mean, it's, they kind of start with a boilerplate, and as we go through with all our reviews and stuff like that and steering committees, a lot of that stuff kind of starts getting massaged out, and we try to personalize it a little bit for Indianola, but we don't obviously touch every sentence in the code. So
Yeah, it feels like it's already causing some issues with the project. Should be evaluated. It feels like we're making a compromise to our own standards because of that particular issue.
And I will be honest, that happens when you have new codes. I mean, this code we've barely been in effect, I think just a tad over a year on this one now, because I think we went live on July 28th last year, something like that. So anytime you get a new code, you're gonna find things in it, and it's really, it is good practice, I think, just to review those every so often and come back with kind of a, we track them as we've seen, but maybe come back with just a big amendment, maybe in the next 6 months or something like that.
Okay. You feel good? Got other questions?
Feeling better.
Okay. Courtney, any questions?
No.
Does anybody of our panelists on Zoom have anything? I can't see them, Charlie, but maybe you can help me out if they're raising their hand indicating they have questions.
This is Preble. Just going to recuse myself if you can hear me.
Audio with them yet, but hold on 1 second. Let me
I don't like that.
feedback.
Charlie's dropping dope beats.
If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand on the function and
Put them in the chat, maybe.
Yeah, or put them in the chat and we'll try to get them answered. Sorry, guys, we're just dealing with some audio issues. All right.
Good. Perfect. Mr. Richard, thank you very much. We'll call you if we have any other questions.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like anyone has any questions, so if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion on this agenda item. Quick reminder, as the chair, I cannot make a motion. for everybody.
Well, reluctantly, I make a motion to approve based on as submitted.
Does anyone have a second for that?
Sarah seconded it.
Perfect. We have a first and a second. Any further discussion before we take a vote here? All right, roll call. please.
Jeremy,
He's recusing.
Sarah,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Courtney. Yes. Bob,
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for that. Moving on to our next topic here, 7A, new business. Consider recommendation on request for approval of a final plat of Wadley subdivision. Charlie?
Yeah, so simple subdivision on this one here. So we have an existing lot that is owned by the property owner, and they're essentially looking to split off a piece of ground to make a buildable area for one new single family dwelling. So the division would create lot one, which is a buildable lot for a single family dwelling that is approximately 0.37 acres in size, as well as an outlot that would be undevelopable that is 0.35 acres in size. Reason that they are doing the lot one plus the outlot was because of the minimum width to depth ratio on subdivision lots. If we went and included that all together, it wasn't going to meet that, and it was just easy to kind of create this outlot in here. So my assumption would be that they will be sold together and used together in tandem. So access for lot one is proposed to come off of West Euclid Avenue. Looking at the DOT traffic data that we have, most recent counts show about 1,800 vehicles per day on there. It is a minor collector street. And really is such because it does provide access out to Whittier Elementary School. Or excuse me, Wilder, not Whittier. Yes, thank you very much. Get the W's mixed up. And then lot one of the proposed subdivision does currently contain actually a 10-foot trail in there. It's Jerry Kelly Trail. So there is a sidewalk currently in front of there. We looked through everything on here. We've been working kind of in little bits and pieces on this one for about the last year. But as we've looked through everything and based off what is being proposed, it does meet all sections of the subdivision code. Good thing with this one is all the existing utilities are in place, so there are not any new roads, any new utilities or anything like this. So it's essentially a minor subdivision, which makes it pretty easy to do. We did send out letters to all surrounding property owners on July 25th. I actually did receive a call from the surrounding property owner to the north today, just asking a few questions, but no opposition was stated during that call. So with that, if the commission has any questions, we have to answer them.
Charlie, are we gonna do any type of tying agreement to this outlot? You said that the assumption is that they would be sold together.
We don't have anything in the code that requires that. I don't know if they're proposing that as part of the subdivision, but yeah, nothing that we have in the code that would require that.
Is that something that we could have standing to ask for?
Yes.
So that we don't end up with an outlot that nobody owns, that the city has to take care of?
I think we probably could do it as a condition of approval if that's something you want to do. We'd have to just kind of work through the applicant and their attorney to make sure that gets put in there. So let me, and I didn't read, I thought there was something on the subdivision plat, if I remember right, too, that might have made note on that. But, you know, again, that's a note on a subdivision plat. So I don't see that on there.
Yeah, I'm open to any other comments from commission members on that question too. I just know we've struggled with outlots over the years and just wanted to make sure there's some type of clear ownership so that we don't just end up with
Something you gotta
a
make.
floating piece of grass.
Can I add my comments?
1 minute if you don't mind here. And so, I mean, looking over from my perspective, was just my main question, if that is even something we can do. I think we can, but it's been a few years since we've had to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it can be a condition of approval. I don't see any reason behind that, and we'll take that to council and see what they say. Just know it's something that we've identified too, I think, is we need to clean up when we're working on the new subdivision code. That'll be something that does get added in there, so.
Does anybody else have any questions for Charlie?
I was looking at the aerial map. So it looks like it's going over the property of a garage here. Is that? an issue at
No,
all?
so when you're looking at the staff report, one of the issues that we deal with is we have to look at the existing property as a whole because we get the parcel data from the county, so we can't show where those boundaries are. We've showed that in times in the past, and it's kind of come back to bite us because they're not perfect. So we just show the existing property that we're looking at on here. So that portion back there is not part of it. Really what it looks like, if you look at that aerial photo, there's that narrow section that goes up to Euclid right there. If you just kind of keep that whole narrow section, that's what the area that they're looking at subdividing off. Everything else, and I think the applicant can speak to it, but my understanding is they're going to keep that portion still.
With that, it's a great segue. If there's anybody in the audience who would like to come up and share, ask questions, speak, this would be your opportunity. Just come up, state your name and your address, and have at it. You guys can race or arm wrestle, who goes first. I don't know. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, I'm Jody Wadley. I'm the owner of the property. And I am interested in selling, yes, both lots together. That is contingent in my selling of it. And that's my realtor's understanding that we are selling them together. They are a package deal. So, yeah, and keeping the rest so that nothing happens behind us. So we get to keep the beautiful property behind us and all the deer.
So the reason we ask for a lot tie agreement is because it might be a part of your contract. But if this next owner goes and sells the house in 5 years and it just gets lost in the shuffle, and then all of a sudden the house is sold 3 more times and nobody knows who owns it, it doesn't get taken care of. So that's the only reason why it's not like a trustworthy thing to the current.
And I would
partners in the
absolutely
document.
do that.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do that, but of course the,
For sure.
yeah,
Yep.
space requirements didn't work.
No,
so.
and if it's something you're okay with, we can find something. I mean, I
Okay.
guarantee our attorney probably has something that we can just get and then we can have you sign it too.
Okay.
Pretty simple process. So I'll work with you on that though.
Perfect.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions besides this for the applicant? Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, did you have anything you wanted to come up
I'm
and
just a
share?
visitor, but I appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted a front row seat as well.
Yeah, they go pretty quick, so it's
Yeah,
good that you got here
See
early.
that?
All right, well, as I said before, for me, I can't make a motion. I would ask, and my input is that I think it would be wise if we put that as a condition of the motion, that lot tie agreement get added in. Certainly, when the time comes here in a second, anybody can make whatever motion they would like to go forward. So, if anyone has any questions for Charlie, Sarah, or Jeremy, if you have any questions. Okay. We're not hearing anything else. I would entertain a motion on this agenda item.
This is Jeremy. Are you able to hear me?
Make a motion to approve the final plat as submitted with the stipulation of the lot tie agreement. City and the owner will work out together.
We have
Second that.
first, do we have a second? Any further discussion or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Jeremy,
Give a thumbs up if you're okay, Jeremy. Yes,
Sarah,
yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes,
Courtney, yes, and Bob.
Yes.
perfect. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Section 8 here, comments, building permit report. Charlie, is there anything you wanted to share here on either the building permit report or the current project?
Kind of the symbolic halfway point through the year, a little over halfway point through the year, I should say. We're in July, not June. Sorry, I'm getting my summer months mixed up, but pretty much on pace. We've got a lot of bigger pending commercial projects still sitting out there that haven't been permitted yet, but have been submitted. Single families a tad behind pace to where we're normally at. But to be honest, I think the issue that we're running into now is we're running out of buildable lots in this community, and we're getting to a point. You've reviewed 3 subdivision plats a few meetings ago between the Quail Meadows, Prairie Glen subdivision, and Heritage Hills. I know Prairie Glen's been recorded. We're waiting on a few minor punch list items on Quail Meadows and Heritage Hills. We're just waiting on their punch list to be completed. So I think we'll final plat a few lots there. And I know, I know, for example, Prairie Glen, I think they had 15 of the 19 lots already sold before it was approved. And Quail Meadows, same thing. He's got quite a few of those lots spoken for out there. So I think we'll start seeing some of those fall in here pretty fast before the fall hits. So building permit report's good there. And then on the current projects report, I know Emily was here last time. She's working on kind of a different report for that, a little bit more modern revised report. She's much better with Microsoft Publisher than I've ever been. So we don't have that quite done yet because she's on vacation right now. But I think at your next meeting, you'll see a revised report when it comes to that. But that being said, if there are any questions on those items, I would be happy to answer them. The only thing I will mention too from the current projects list, the Trailview subdivision, which I believe the commission approved at your last meeting, that the closing didn't go through on that one. The developer actually backed out right before closing, so that subdivision is no longer going to happen. So just a quick update on that one. Those things happen sometimes when it comes to closing, especially in the current economy we are. Sometimes pricing gets out of whack pretty fast. So. But those are all the comments I have.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Charlie? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody for a second?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Perfect. One more.
Sarah seconded it.
Sarah seconded it. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody.